This time on Low Boost, we start putting together the Fitech EFI fuel system on our 1953 Ford F100 pickup truck. If you guys are new to the channel, my dad and I have been restoring a 1953 Ford F100 pickup truck. We did an entire restoration on the car and sent it out to LL Customs to have them do the body work, and we swapped an engine in it out of the 6-cylinder that was in it, a 351 Windsor. We did a lot of work so far, but we have a lot more to go. So today we're going to configure our fuel pump, fuel tank, and fuel lines. Here we go. All right, so everything's run underneath the car. I got the fuel line wire run to the fuel tank, but I gotta drop the fuel tank. It's 4 bolts. I'll show you a little bit more about it in a second. I'm gonna lay it down on my transmission jack, which I use to replace the clutch in my E36 Turbo LS swap. This is just a simple Harbor Freight transmission jack. Definitely lift up 500, 600, 700 pounds, so the fuel tank should be easy. I just don't want to drop it. I'm doing it myself, so let's see how it goes. If you guys aren't familiar, LAL Customs did a fantastic job on this fuel tank they made, and they made all the brackets that are going up into it. Right now I'm slowly lowering it off because the neck is in there too, and I want to make sure we get that off, which I think we did. We'll take it all out, see how we do. Alright, so we might have to make some modifications to this, but this is the hat, and obviously way too big to fit in there, right? And that's okay, too long. So these are designed to be cut to the specifications that you want for length. You want it to be fitting down to the bottom of the tank like this, but you don't want it to be too far that you're pushing the fuel pump at the bottom on the bottom of the tank, because then you'll run into some fuel delivery problems. So we don't want that. So first we're gonna measure how deep we're gonna do, cut where we need to, and then we might have to refashion some bolts here to make everything line up right. Obviously every kit and fuel tank is going to be different. This is the fuel tank that we got, and obviously these things don't match up, so we're going to have to modify this a little bit to be able to accommodate our fuel delivery system, or it may be better to do an inline fuel pump because we have feeds down here at the bottom. We could use those for delivery. So I'm gonna do some research and check and see. It would be really nice to use this piece because it's awesome, it's beautiful, and the Fitech kit comes with it. It's a really nice sending unit, but for easy use, we might just be able to do an inline. We're gonna check that out. So while it would be possible to get this fuel pump to work in the top there, it is just gonna take too much time and money to re-weld this thing where you wanna have it. But this does have feed and return there. So we went back to the old Fitech parts bin, and they gave us this, which is essentially an Aeromotive 340 fuel pump, but it's their design and everything designed to work with Fitech stuff, and a mount that we're going to mount to the frame. So we're going to run an inline fuel pump instead of the drop-in one. Now, it still will work all the same. The wiring will work all the same. This is just going to be easier for our application, but that other fuel basket that they have is also a great fuel delivery system as well. All right, so Fitech also came with some really good AN lines. It's not PTFE, but it's still gonna work fine for what we're gonna do. We're not running ethanol in the car. So the way you wanna do this on these is you wanna take off the inner part of it here. These are nice long fittings, high quality. And you fit this on the end. These are actually reverse threaded, so I actually go to the left to get this where it's got to go. I don't know if I'm doing it right or doing it wrong, but for some reason every time if I do it reverse threaded, it feels like it goes on better. So I'm pushing it in. All right, as you can see, I'll try to get in there as good as I can. Try to get it as good as possible there, a little bit. You want it threaded in as far as possible, but right before it's touching the thread. So you want to thread it in about that far, and then you get working on the rest of it. Now, what I like to do on both ends of this, because we're going to be hitting it with a wrench and you're going to see it in the car, on the top of the engine, so you don't want it to be scuffed up. I like to hit it with some tape just around the top of this. That way when I hit it with the wrench, it won't get so bad. Now they make anodized tools and you can buy them. I know that, but they're expensive and you're just using it for that. Also, hit it with a little lubrication, some WD-40 water or oil, just to kind of get the threads so they'll go in here easier. And then you just thread it in. And it'll get to a point where it gets too tough to do it by hand and you gotta use a wrench. And I really, really suggest using a vise for this. Because the vise is gonna hold it in place, and I like to hold the line on the bottom so it doesn't twist itself. And once it gets to a point where it gets too difficult to turn by hand, then I'm gonna use the actual wrench itself, which is getting to that point. So now I use the wrench here, turn it around. You can line them up if you have to get them nice and neat where they gotta go, but I like it tight.
That's what she said.
So, take it off, take the tape off. My dad will get mad that I'm making a mess with the tape on the ground, but we can clean it up later. And now you can see the fitting is completely done. There. Now the return on these is pretty simple, but the feed, we're gonna have to run it through the pump as well as a fuel filter. So that they actually come with a 10 micron, really nice fuel filter, and it's got the ORB styles on either end. So we're gonna put these together, and we have this one now that goes to, this end is going directly to our Fitech, running down behind the engine. Then I gotta make another fitting here that's gonna run to the filter, and then from the filter goes to the pump, back to the tank. So we kind of hit some snags here at the end. We need a couple more pieces and stuff to put everything together. But stay tuned, because we're gonna keep plugging along with this, because we really wanna get this truck started soon. That way we can finish it up and finish up some of our other projects that we have going on. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the uploads we have for this truck. Plus, we also got videos on my E36 Turbo LS swap coming up, 66 Mustang that we're doing a 302 swap in, a bunch of other stuff. So if you're into car stuff, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.